And welcome everyone to another Pivot podcast. So glad you could be with us. I am Tracy, and once again, I'm here with my awesome co-host, Mr. Dan Jansen. How are you, sir?
I'm terrific. We're going international today. I like it. I love it. And I want some more of it. We have a very special guest. We got Louise Bedford, the queen of the stock market, I would say. Louise, how are you? And can you introduce yourself a little bit and just give us a little bit of a background about yourself?
Sure. Look, it's fantastic seeing you both. I've been trading since 1990. I've been a full-time trader since 1995. So it's probably before a lot of your listeners were even born, but my goodness, we won't go there. I have got 5 best-selling books on the share market, and I'm definitely known as being the candlesticks queen, having brought the candlesticks method out to Australia. I've just enjoyed the ride. So I'm very keen to hear more about you two and to bring some real value to your listeners.
It's awesome. Well, you know what? I'm a huge fan. I've read 2 of your books. Love them. Love them. I recommend them highly. So the Candlestick Trading Secrets and the Candlestick Secrets, I think that's what it's called. Read them both. In fact, I might even just send them to you to get autographed, but we'll see. So anyway, I've heard a little bit about your story to start with, and I would love to know how you got started in the share market.
Well, way back when, my dad made a heck of a lot of money all in one year, transformed our lives. We went from having barely any money to all of a sudden just rolling in it. It caught my attention. And as soon as I could, I saved up enough money to start investing. So I did everything wrong. Every single thing wrong. I'd love to say I was like some sort of child prodigy, but I was nothing of the sort. I didn't know about stop losses. I bought companies because they had cute names. Yeah, some of those didn't go too well at all. And over time, I started to gather information based on pain. I decided to contact a broker. This is how I came in touch with my broker. Tiny little name down the back of a bank. And I rang up this stranger and I said, look, I'd like to trade. And he said, I don't know that much about the markets. And clearly you don't. So let's learn with your money and we can learn together. I thought it was a brilliant offer. I thought it was fantastic. So yes, I trusted a total stranger. We learned together, all because his name was Chris and I happened to be married to a Chris and my business partner's Chris. And weirdly, I've had almost every one of my boyfriends in the past named Chris. So that broker had the right name and that's what got me going.
Wow.
It's
That's
a small
awesome.
thing sometimes, right?
Sometimes, yes.
The universe leads you down a path.
Yeah.
Now, the Australian market, is it as liquid as the US market?
No, but there are so many opportunities. And in fact, the majority of the traders that I train these days, they're focusing on the Australian market, the US market, and the UK market as well. So there are so many opportunities. There are aspects to individual markets that you do have to take into account. One of them is being a macro filter. So making sure that the overall market is trending up before you get involved. That's very important. And of course, that will differ between each country depending on where you're trading. But other than that, once you've got this information and it's stored in between your ears, the world is your oyster.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's
getting
awesome.
into take us back to that time when you were just learning the market with Chris, the broker.
Yes.
What was some of the things, the hurdles that you really had to either realize or encounter and kind of jump over those hurdles to really get to the point of not even where you're at today, but what you would at least consider a successful trader?
The big thing was that I didn't have enough money. So I was totally undercapitalized. And that's where I don't want anybody to think that that is an impediment. There's always ways to fund yourself. All you have to do is want it badly enough. So I kept on earning money through my corporate role, feeding it into my corporate account, the equity account, and just trying things left, right, and center. There were no books back then that I could easily get my hands on. There was no real focus in terms of training and education. These days it's so different, isn't it? There's so many avenues. I mean, podcasts weren't around back then. Wouldn't that have been terrific? So I learned definitely by hitting my head against a brick wall and then going, that didn't work, and then trying something different. And eventually, in year 3, after losing money, I said to my broker, look, I'm sick of this. It is driving me crazy. All I'm doing is funding your pocket. When's the money for me? And I threw pretty much an adult tantrum. And I said to him, look, you have to introduce me to someone who is making money, and make it female, because there were barely any women back then. Oh my goodness, it was just a sea of blokes and testosterone.
Sorry.
We love the energy that testosterone gives, there's no doubt. But I wanted someone who could show me that it could be done, because if you can't see it, you can't be it. So he finally found a female for me who was hugely successful. I went to her door. I knocked on the door. It was a massive mansion there, huge. Her little poodles ran out to greet me. I went inside her house. We walked down this huge long hallway, and it was at that moment I realized I hadn't told anybody that I was coming to this stranger's house. Instantly, I thought she was going to murder me. Go figure. So she showed me how she made money out of candlestick charts. I didn't even know what a candlestick chart was. She had hand-drawn charts, 2-minute tick charts around her office. And she paid for a Reuters terminal. Back then it was $18,000 a year. That was just mind-blowingly large amounts of money. And she drew those charts and she said, look, this is what you have to do here. And look, this is what you have to do here. And I was fascinated. I was fascinated with her lifestyle, the fact that she was able to make all this money and she could do it completely independently. My world opened up. I went from there to getting rid of my job 2 years later. Sure, it wasn't quite a choice. I was forced out. But I knew at that point that it was possible. It was possible. And if I wanted it badly enough, I would find the methods to be able to make money out of the stock market.
That drive. That's the difference between people that succeed and people that fail. A lot of people that want it, they think it, but that's as far as they take it. They don't go the next step. I don't even know if I would have the guts to go to a perfect stranger's house, let alone a big mansion. I'm assuming there was probably a gate that you had to get a buzz through. I don't think I would have the guts to knock on that door and go for it. So, I mean, that's just so inspiring. And
you know what I love, though, is often we are where we are because of our past decisions. So you can set yourself up, your future self up today. It's something that I think about a lot. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? What gift can you give your future self today so that you can excel?
You know what I like is the question I asked is, what was the hurdle that you had to jump over? And you gave me 0 candles, 0 technicals, 0 algos. It was the desire to succeed, right? Which is really important, because most people hear the statistic or the number out there. I'm not even sure if it's true or where it came from, that like 90% of the people that trade the market fail, lose money, and their biggest hurdle is not getting involved at all and just being like, well, somebody once told me that I can't make money in the market. So that's really impressive that was the one key hurdle that the first thing you thought of is, well, I got to get into the market. I got to find a way to be successful. So I find that very impressive. With what you've learned, and is there a certain technical aspect or certain setups that you typically look for, or what is your prime type of trade that you would take?
Sure. Look, there's 3 archetypes. When I say an archetype, I mean the perfect type of trade that I'm looking for. So the first one most people know is a breakout trade, where it's got like a nice step-like look. It goes sideways up, and we're looking for a long green candle on heavy relative volume, breaking past a layer of resistance. And that is my key one. I would say the majority of my trades are looking at breakout trades. And then the other two types, there's a retracement trade where I'm looking for a bottom candlestick reversal pattern during an existing uptrend, and a reset where you've already been in it, your stop's been hit, and now you're looking for another entry signal. Now, if you're new and you're hearing these terms and you're going, okay, you've lost me, you've blown my head off, just know that there have been decades of knowledge poured into this head before I could speak so confidently about it. Don't count yourself out. You can learn the jargon, you can understand this, and if you want something badly enough, you'll work out how to sift your way through that forest.
Now, I'm going to ask you another question later, so just remind me that I want to ask you a candle question. But one of the things that really stands out to me is you go to this woman's house, first of all, and I'm blown away that there's even another successful female in the 90s in the trading. You've already brought that up. What do you think the reason was that she even took you in and shared that knowledge with you?
You know, interestingly, at the very end of that chat, she told me she never wants to see me again.
Okay, then.
I think she felt some sort of duty to female kind. I do. I think she wanted to take a new little fledgling under her wing and to be able to help, which I love. And I love that now, as a community-based person, we know the importance of having people in our corner, of being able to learn from a mentor, to have somebody just to encourage you and to say it's either your system because your system isn't working, it's your psychology because you're not trading your system, or it's the way that you're maintaining your results. So are you following some of the key strategies once you started trading to excel? You know, we know that now because so many of us are talking about it. So she went out on a limb for me, and I will always be grateful.
I bet. I was actually expecting a totally different answer than that. So that's good. I thought this was going to lead into some inspirational thing of why you became a mentor, because you're a coach and a mentor. You don't turn people away, you welcome them in. So thank you for sharing that. That's exciting. Now, when did you start your mentorship stuff, the coaching that you're doing?
Yeah, look, also, this is going to be a little personal, so do brace yourselves. Look, when I kicked off with trading and things started to go well, unfortunately for me, my health started to give out and I had a difficulty with my hands and with my arms. I lost the use of my hands and arms for 3 years. So I learned how to trade with a pen in my mouth so I could tap the computer keyboard and put on my orders. I had that broker on speed dial. He used to do the maths for me because you can't talk and have a pen in your mouth. You've got to make the choice. So with that unfortunate situation, I had to leave my job and I had to do a lot of physiotherapy. So I started going to a hydrotherapy pool. There were a group of us there with various ailments. We called ourselves lovingly the mutants, which is probably only from somebody within that can do that, you know, an external person saying that about a group of disabled people. That probably wouldn't go down too well, but we thought we were hilarious and we encouraged each other so much, not just in the pool, not just with the pain of doing the physiotherapy, but also emotionally. And they realized as well that because I could trade, I did not have to go on welfare, whereas a lot of them were living on government handouts and support, and it erodes your spirit. I can't even emphasize enough how some of these amazing people with these terrible disabilities had been depleted because they had to hand out in terms of government support. So they were my first group. I taught lots of them how to trade. I've attracted many people with disabilities over the years because I have got that insight. I've regained the use of my arms, thank goodness, but it's taken many, many years. And that initial shock, that anger about your body letting you down, and that empathy that leads you on to develop, that never leaves you. It never leaves you. And that's why I do like to help people enjoy the lifestyle that I've been able to create for myself. And I get a real spark out of seeing my traders excel and beat the markets.
That's incredible. Now, I have to ask you, because everything you've told me so far just shows me how resilient you are. And I find that a lot of people can't push through that unless they have a good why. And I'm kind of curious what your why was that was driving all of this resilience that you have.
Yeah. I think when I was 19, I went to one of those really big rah-rah sessions where you have somebody from stage teaching all the little people how to make money. And one of the things they got us to do, with my husband-to-be beside me, they said you need a mission statement. And a part of my mission statement was to inspire others by leading by example. And I still hang on to that today. That is so deep within my core, I can never, ever shake it. And that is something that I couldn't do just sitting at home feeling sorry for myself that my hands and arms aren't working anymore. It is a ripple effect that you decide to create. And often with our goals and dreams, if they just involve us, we give up. It has to be a bigger, broader perspective. It has to be that you're helping your family. Maybe you're spreading the word in some way to another group of people, another country. For goodness sake, within us, we have so much power. And if we can tap into that, and if we can realize that we're here for more than we think we are, we can overcome amazing obstacles.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for a listener, myself, Tracy, to look at somebody like you and say, look, she's so lucky, right? She could do whatever she wants in her life right now. She's got the markets. She's successful trading. And a lot of people, to anybody successful, will look at that and go, well, that person's got good luck on their side. But it's usually the luck comes with the hard work, which I think a lot of people avoid. Like, you work harder, you seem to get luckier, right? It's just a combination. What would you say to somebody that is about to throw up the towel, that's been trying to trade the market for a while now, tried a few different avenues, and it's just not hitting home, it's just not working for them? What would you say to that person? Is it time to find something else? Or
No, you're right on track. That's how it goes. Very few people kick off and that they've got that Midas touch where everything they touch turns to gold. Very few people have that. And in fact, I run a mentor program where I teach traders how to trade. I've noticed over the past 22 years that I've been running that repeat for free course, the people that come out where it's a bull market, where everything is so easy and money gets thrown at them, they actually don't stick around. They, in 2, 3 years, 5 years' time, they're the ones who quit because they thought it was going to be easy. So be prepared. Know that this is going to be a rocky road. But do you know what is really great about rocky roads? You have an amazing view at the end. If this is worth doing, it is worth fighting for. I can't imagine any other arena that you can actually have an unlimited income. Just let that sink in for the moment. An unlimited income. Now, I earn the money of a neurosurgeon or higher, and I didn't have to do everything they had to do. It's such a life hack. It's such a scam, this, isn't it? To be able to say, I can earn at that upper echelon of money earning ability where I didn't have to do the work. It is magic.
And now with the age of computer trading, it's not gender biased either. And that's the thing that I really love. Any woman in the market there's no ceiling on it. It's not going to say that you can't make as much as the guy next to you.
My ladies are making more than the men.
There you go.
That's understandable. I get it. I just get it.
Now I have to say, because you had a health issue beforehand and you continued trading, and then you were able to teach people how to get out of that. And I have to say, because one of the reasons that I got into trading was because of a health issue. I ended up with a blood clot in my leg, and it put me in a wheelchair for quite a while, and then a year and a half of rehab on a cane. But if I didn't have trading, I don't know, this shocked my pride, because that was the first time that I would not have been able to actually have a job, and I didn't know what to do. And learning how to trade and having my husband support me and all that was really, really life-saving. And I wish I'd had somebody like you that was able to take me under their wing at that time. But I didn't know anybody until I came across our real life trading. And then thankfully Jeremy did. But it's true. There's just so many things that you can do with this, and you don't have to let all the different things that life throws at you tear you down. You can keep on plugging, and that's what I love about your story so much. I've heard your story many, many times, and I'm a huge admirer. I just gotta say. So.
I love what you've been able to achieve. I really do. You have to take credit, because so many people let things stop them, and you could have let your situation stop you, but you pushed, and that's wonderful. I do think what you're saying strikes to the heart of identity, where if you only have one identity, if I was only a corporate exec, then that actually puts you in a position of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. I do feel with trading, it allows us to take on an identity and to step into that identity. And when somebody asks that, I consider it quite a rude question. What do you do? Oh my goodness, what sort of question is that? At least we can say, this is our current identity. I actually think, for the sake of human relationships, rather than asking, what do you do? How do you spend your time is a much better question. It gives a broader response base for people to draw from. And for yourself, you've been able to say, how do I spend my time? Learning about the markets, helping other people excel, developing skills that you probably never would have developed in your previous role. So there's a lot more to be said if you do push on. It's just having that ability, that gumption. And if you look at Jeremy, Jeremy's a personal friend of mine. He's such a dude. Oh my gosh, I adore him. I really just do wish he could come back out to Australia so that we could spend some more time together. He came in to present to my traders, and seeing that kindred spirit, seeing those combined values, so, so beautiful. I love it. So I'm really glad that you guys working so closely with Jeremy.
Oh, he's amazing. So, and I mean, our entire team with Real Life Trading, and I don't know if you've had a chance to meet any of our Australian team, Ricky and Shani, and they're amazing too. And so it's, we've got a great team. It's a great family. That's what we've got. So, yeah.
And the way you approach one thing is the way you approach everything. If you look at Ricky with his bodybuilding goals, how cool is that? So the focus that he's been able to apply to trading is the focus that he's been able to apply to being a new dad and to be able to be the best he can be in terms of physicality. So the skills you'll learn in trading will follow through to every single aspect of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm curious, in trading, aside from what you've already told us, is there any big struggle that you ever had to go with? And I'm talking about like that trading aspect. So, whether it was pulling the trigger or not taking the trade or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's the little voice of self-doubt. That's been the big one. I consider that little voice to be my inner lunatic. She's crazy. She's crazy. Oh my gosh. So I'll give you an example with so fast forward, okay, so I'd learned how to trade, I traded shares, then I had to leave my job, and then I started trading options, okay? So my very first option trade, I lost $238, okay? That should have been a plus, shouldn't it? No. I went under my doona. I howled like an animal. I was crying and crying. It took hours for me to cry it out of my system because it meant so much more than the money. It meant that if I couldn't work out how to do this, who would employ somebody who couldn't move their arms? Who would possibly want to take that burden on? So I think my big challenge personally has been to stop giving control and power over to something that doesn't have any place in my life, assuming that power.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
I think that's a lot of people that I talk to that are in the mentor groups. It's just how you said it. It's the money controls them. I mean, whether it's they're staying at their job that they hate because they're making money that they think they need, or the ability or the inability to take a trade or the inability to get out of a trade when they're wrong. What obviously you spent a lot of time learning about the markets, learning about the candlesticks, learning about technicals, learning about when to play stops, when to get out of trades. What do you think the market has taught you about life in general?
Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? So many things. You are smaller than you would ever imagine. So why not make a splash within your sphere of influence? Your ego has no place in your decision making. If you stumble and fall, you don't have to stay down. You can get back up again. And taking small losses in life and in trading is probably the only way that you're going to be able to make a hit later. So, gosh, I'm sure there are other things, but often it's a metaphor for life. I see the markets like they're a mirror. You can look into that mirror and you can see something ugly and distorted and that you're having a bad hair day, or you can look into those markets and see it the way it really is. So our challenge as humans is to look at ourselves the way we really are, but then also to have the ability to strive to get to that next level. And that blend is quite tricky.
Now, I used to spend, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half before the market opened, prepping all the time, watching the news, doing a little bit of back trading, checking all the different things out. I have since changed about an hour of that into meditation, some visualization, some writing, and some reading that's unrelated. And I found that has really shifted my perspective when I approach the computer every morning to do some trading. And I'm just curious, do you have a specific morning routine or something special that you focus on to get you prepped for the markets, maybe mentally? Yeah.
Look, the majority of my trading currently is on a medium-term time frame. So that's a much easier way to go in terms of you can have time to make your decisions. You don't have to make those quick decisions during market opening hours. But I've actually got a little robot over in the corner here, a little metal robot, and I do hold that robot, and I get that robot, his name's Stockbot, to imbue me with wisdom. So if you think about how a robot trades, they're very mechanical, they follow binary yes or no programming, they don't get overly involved whether it's a win or a loss, they just do their structure and their routine every single time without fail. And if something goes wrong, then it's something in their system that is messed up. So I tend to do the same thing again and again. I have a set little routine. I'm a mum of two and I look after my kids. I look after my husband. I've got a business partner and I get the rest of my life flowing, and I don't encourage drama because I dislike drama. I've had enough of that in my life. So a lot of the stuff I do is very routine oriented and quite boring, if you like to use that word, but I love it because it just means it opens up opportunities for me. I think sometimes we neglect to realize the importance of habits. If you can form good habits, it means you don't have to have that mental occupation in those areas. It can free you up creatively so that the things you really want, you can focus on.
I love it. That is so true. So true. Now, okay, I wanted to ask you another question because we're almost out of time. What's your favorite candle?
Oh, bullish engulfing passions. I love them. Yeah, they appeal to me. I love them to help me be guided into a retracement trade, especially if the preceding market conditions are showing an uptrend. Yeah.
That's funny. So I did a candle math presentation not that long ago, and the bullish engulfing, most of them, depending on how much they engulf, but are hammer candles. They're a combination hammer
Yes.
candle, and that's my favorite candle pattern is the hammer, which turns out to be a lot of them, like the engulfing, the double bottom, all of them that you can add them all up together, and they're most likely a hammer. So
Oh, you're speaking my
I had to ask
language.
you. I had to ask you. So, and then the other thing that I want to know is, do you have any courses coming up or any kind of programs that are opening up soon?
Well, to get more information about how I trade and how you can open up this whole idea about where the markets can take you, come to my website, tradinggame.com.au, tradinggame.com.au. Register for my free 5-part e-course, and I'll send you my free trading plan template as well. So I know you'll love it. Make sure you pop your registration in. And guys, if our traders, because I know this is also being simulcast to our traders, if our traders want to learn more about you, where can they find more information about you?
Dan?
Tracy, you want to tackle it?
Sure. Well, both
She
Dan
just
and
says it so much
myself,
better than I do. So
both Dan and I are mentors. So you can find us over at www.reallifetrading.com and slide over to the mentor section. You'll see both of us. We're available for group mentoring as well as individual coaching. You can also sign up, and we have loads of free education. We've got a beginner course, an intermediate course, advanced course. They're all free. You can take those. And then you can also subscribe to Twitter. We're at RLT Pivot. You'll also find us on Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anywhere on the socials. And then, of course, our YouTube channel. We are there and putting out as much free content as we possibly can. So we'd love to see you all there. And I'll put all of this stuff in the links below as well. So you'll have all that information, how to get a hold of Louise. And I'll tell you, because I am a subscriber to your newsletter and I've done that program thing. It's well worth it. She's just a wealth of knowledge. I can't speak highly enough of her. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
Oh, thank you so much. It has just been such an honor coming onto your show and to be involved with people who know one of your friends. Isn't it interesting that the friends that we have, often they're friends that can become our best friends? So it's been wonderful meeting some people who are also Jeremy fans. Love it.
It's like-minded people, right?
it's a
Absolutely.
large world, but it's very small at the very same time.
Sure
It's very
is.
crazy. But that's just about all the time. Louise, we really appreciate you coming on to the Pivot Podcast. Again, for all the listeners, just click the links, check out all the links below this podcast. You guys can check out all the information on Louise and real life trading as well. And we will see all you guys next time.